Good day everybody, welcome to another video. I thought today of doing another kind of like jewelry making video, so I thought it'd be kind of good. We're going to start with our basics. You're going to need some good pliers. Now you could go to any dollar store, there should be kits available. I also got these curved pliers because, like, as many know, in case if you don't see, I have to use them for like different holdings, so I'll usually use this and kind of bend stuff around. And you will also need some wire snippers. So I use stuff like this. You could use a good pair of like scissors. Like, you could use this, but really, like, unless they're like of a really good high quality, you're better off to buy like something that will kind of cut it. I also do have another pair, which is kind of a little more standard, which is these ones here. These were technically like for gardening and that, so like they're available this time of year for most of us, so this stuff. So if you're not really comfortable using like this one here, you could use something like this. It's the same concept. It has like kind of the wire base kind of so good. All right, so as we know, we had these. So I thought about what would be nice is if I had this as a bracelet, what could I use to maybe make some pretty earrings to go with it? So I think what we're going to do is still stick with some of the main colors as we had in our last videos, and kind of maybe make something, maybe a smaller version of this. That would kind of be like a really nice earring. Now this is really big, so it won't be used for that. Now what you're going to need is also, you're going to need some good wiring. So we'll use some of this. Now you could use some type of gauge wire, but I wouldn't really recommend it as high as everything else. So I do have some of this here. This is like a strong kind of based crafting wire. That's what it's called for most of us. Now you can get some that are based with for like beading and that. It's a little bit thinner. But I do like a little bit of sturdiness, depending if you're making loops. Now today we're not going to do that. We're just going to keep it very simple. And we're going to stick with this. You could get multiple packs of different colors. Like I do have, like, sorry about the mess, but there's got some oranges, there's blues, there's whites. I mean, it's just, based the limit and whatnot. I mean, you just kind of just work with it, whatever one you have on hand. So I think today what we're going to do is kind of get some of our base stuff. So I do have a lot of the stuff available in front of me. And I do have some of the stuff, so I'm going to get this for you so you kind of get an idea. I do have my beads here. I got all my beads here. Some of my stuff in here, and I also got all my stuff in here. Now, I don't really think we should really necessarily have to put a charm on this one, but I mean, it totally is up to you if you really want to or not. So I'm thinking today, keep things pretty simple, just so to kind of like have a little bit, I still don't have that tripod, sorry, but this is not too expensive. I think I got like a 4-pack at the Dollarama in Canada, so like it's not very, too expensive. You could just pretty much find it. I think Dollar General, I think in most United States, should have them. I do believe. Just check with them. If you don't have a Dollar General, a crafting store should possibly have them. Amazon, if you're a big Amazon fan, sure, go for that. So, well, think about how much of the wire you're going to need. So you're going to use about, probably not very much. But seeing we're going to make 2 of them, I'm going to use, a decent amount. Because most times, like, I usually vary on how much it is. And then just simply just snip it off. There we go. Now, I will wrap this later. My cat's really bad for playing with that stuff. So basically, trying to keep with colors. So if you're going to have, like I said, the purples, stay with the purples. Maybe sometimes pinks and purples, that works out too. But you also see there's like a golden there with like kind of like the white trim on the bases on that. I mean, you can varietize how you think you want it to feel. Now I also had thought about this in a little bit back, and I really had thought about some stuff around here. Possibly just using most of this and just kind of keeping it really simple today, like I say, and stuff like that. So what I'm going to use is, I'm going to use this because this is my easier one. But usually most times, because it's a little easier for me, I know you could get some like special pliers that usually make the answers, but I don't have that kind of fortune to get that. And I do have some classes coming in. I paid like something like $5 on Temu for like 600 of them, so stay tuned on that one. I do need to pick up some wire, not wire, some chain and stuff like that. So usually most time like I have to grip, as you can see. I'm trying to get the screenshot here. And then I'll just twist that into whatever I need. Now I don't want to make it too small of a loop. I do want to leave it for like a little bit because you want to put that for your length for your hook. So I also did pick up on Temu with some stuff. Now this did start the new wire, so like there's like a little bit of end. It does cause a little bit of problem, so I'm just going to trim off that little excess there. We'll just throw it aside, don't worry about that. I did spend some time and I worked on these. I know it's a little on the crooked side because I kind of threw it in haste, but these are pretty. They're really quite lovely. Any style work with it. You know, you be creative on whatever you're going to have. So I thought maybe something like a floral kind of design and stuff like that. So basically what we're going to do, oops, wrong one. We're going to use still our purple kind of bead stuff. I don't think I want them like too huge because like, I mean, I've had hoops before and I mean like they were massive and stuff like that. Do I actually have any hoops to kind of give me an idea how big these things used to be? Like I had hoops like they were like this and I used to wear that a lot. Of course, I'm not that young anymore, so, and I had actually a shower, so my hair's really fuzzy right now. So we're going to go ahead and I think we're going to put them on the same line as that bracelet. So I'm going to use also our gold. We do have our one bead on here. And we're going to probably do about 6, 8-ish. And we're going to try to follow off with that same pattern as we did on our bracelet. And maybe put like a kind of like the same kind of concept on the edges and stuff like that right here. Just so you have an idea. Let's put that up there. So I'm going to do about 6 of these. Ooh, that's very interesting. So I do get beads off and on. Like I said, I used Temu as my basis because like it's still relatively cheap. Most dollar stores now, I actually was looking recently at getting some new stuff. That was kind of unfortunate because the kids are way small and I would need several and I'm not going to pay $7 for something that's not going to last me very long. So I'm going to be looking around later on and I'm going to find, like another beading shop in town. We have one, but it was kind of under renovations right away, so it's kind of not good right now. So remember one thing, like I always say, if you're going to make something and it's kind of going to be mirroring something like this, reputation is always good. So whatever you're going to make with this, you're going to do that like double. So like your other area is going to do on the same pattern. So I'm just going to show you one, and you normally would just do 2 basic ones. So we got 3 and 3. So I'm going to go with 6 on each, and then we're going to kind of just run it off from there. I mean, you could put a charm if you want into it. I mean, I don't judge on that. Like, you know, creativity is always important. That's what we're based on this channel here. I'm waiting on some new marker sets for my story times with B. I want to make sure I get those done out for you. Just keeping a little posted on that. I said that in my one video. Okay, and so you kind of can gain a little bit of stuff like this. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 2, 4, 5, and so we need one more. Oops. 6. And then you're just going to put your middle bead. Sometimes the hole is closed up. There we go. There we go. And just run it down to the end of your jewelry, basically like this. So you don't want to push too hard because you don't want it to go through the end. At this point, like, I mean, you could leave it like this if you really want. I mean, I have other larger beads. I could maybe use this like a spacer kind of type thing. But like I said, I want to keep it really basic for you today. Don't want to keep this video too long. So when you're coming down and then you're going to come back up to your top piece here, you're going to just make your loop like this. Even if it goes like this, don't worry about it. I know a lot of people will say, no, you can't do that. Well, yeah, you can. It just, everything. Now, I won't leave too much space from the other one. There we go. Like I said, and we're just going to wrap it. There we go. And we're going to lift it up. There we go. Small yank. Now I'm going to use my one little plier. I'm just going to make sure that's straight. All right. I mean, they're pretty as they are right now. Like, I mean, you could stop at this point if you want. Even, like, just pause this video and go ahead and stop at this point. But like I said, I would love to kind of kind of make it close to this. So, like, if you're going to do that, you're going to need just a few more of the items that you're going to need. And a lot of these are, like, kind of your tiny little beads that will kind of go. Now, I do have them. They're kind of, like, sideways here. You could use gold, you could use the white, and I'm just trying to remember where I left all my white ones. Maybe, oh, it doesn't matter, we'll just use some white, that is fine. There we go, oops. These are so small, they kind of go, sit everywhere. And like I said, they're relatively, like, tiny. So, like, whenever, I don't know if if I post so many videos, I don't know. But usually you just follow up on how much goes around that, and it's going to come through your bottom bead in there, and it's going to come down, and then you're going to reverse it on the other side. You follow the same pattern, and when you're making your earrings, it'll be the same kind of concept. And then when you come up in the end, then you're just going to wrap, and then that should be it, besides like your earring clasp that will kind of go on the back and everything else. So we're going to do that now, and we're just going to kind of get a few of these. So we're going to do this. So we're going to go, I think there was 6 last time. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and oops. You lose them sometimes. It's okay. 6. And there's your 6. It's just, I don't know if you can really see that too well. And so you have about 6. It's just as long as it wraps around each of the beads, it's fine. It may be a little harder depending on like each of the beads you're going to go in. Now what I should have done though is actually going to have to remove these. Is when you're, and I came back over top, is during the top half of the beads, we're using the gold part as our standard. So I'm going to just move my thumb. Now see, like it's already made a perfect hole. So I'm going to go in here, and we're just going to shove that in like that. Oops, all the beads everywhere. And I'm going to cut through that middle bead. I just need a little bit of light. There we go. And oh, come on, a little bit too much. Where is it? Oh, well, it's crystal clear through. Here. There we go. A little bit better light. Ah, there we go. And you're going to come through that one top bead. So the gold ones will become kind of, like I said, the spacer ones that will kind of just... so we're going to pull that through. There we go. Should have actually done that the first time. I don't want to yank too hard. Tried not to yank too hard. Now we got our 6 beads on top. Because we want to go around the purple beads, but we don't want to go around the gold. The gold are our spacer beads, so stuff like that. And I know there's a lot of people that can do this without. It's just more tricky for me to hold. 3. 5 and 6. There we go. And there we go. And then we got our 6. Now, like I said, if that goes around your bead. Now, if 6 is not really too much, like I noticed that these are not 6, I go about 8. So which we're not trying to actually add 8. So if you're going to start with 8, make sure all the way around it's 8, because you know I don't want it to be a little uneven and stuff like that. 7, 8, because every small bead is a varied size, and that's another thing you're going to notice when you start making your bracelets and stuff like that. There we go. That should actually wrap. See, that's perfect. That goes all the way around. And again, I'm going to put my finger through the loop. This is just how I do this. Many people have different ways of holding it. And again, through the gold bead. Okay, and there we go. Got this on the first try. All right. Now, don't over pull. You just want to make sure it goes like completely flat on top of the bead. So that way it kind of doesn't overdo that. And there you go. You got your first one in. Now, if you want, at this point, before you go into your next set, like this one has an alternating pattern normally. But again, you could flip these either way, so it could be just on one side, whatever, which I think I'm just going to make it like an outer edge thing. And that would probably be kind of like a nicer pattern, whatever. So I'm going to get 8. We're going to do this a couple times. Oops. Hard when you can't actually hold them. There we go. Put this in. 2, yep. 3. 4. 5. 6. 7. Last one, 8. Now I am actually, oops, messed that one up. Now it is a little earlier in the day for me, so like, if you don't mind me, like I'm just kind of like, I'm really warm right now. I don't have a thyroid. I actually had cancer. That's why you will sometimes, if you're wondering why there's like almost looks like a scar. I had my thyroid removed 2 years ago. Now I am fine. Everything's good. I keep up with my appointments. I do make sure my medications are on time. So no worries. This channel ain't gonna go for like go on a short time, whatever. So be with you for a long time. I'm going to make sure I keep a lot of the content. That's why I'm trying to keep things like a bit variety. Because when I originally kind of went back into doing more YouTube videos, I wanted to know opinions, like how people like felt about me just only doing just Minecraft or whatever. That's why I kind of try to varietize. I haven't done a cooking video in a long time. I do apologize. My kitchen's just not the best right now. So I'm going to try to remedy that. I don't know when that's going to happen. Things are tight. So doing this is kind of like the only way I could do it for free, getting these videos down to you. Now, sometimes it is a little hard for me to see, so I do apologize. Sometimes one thing I do have is like can bother me. So like sometimes if you notice me squinting, it's because the light's really bothersome. I don't know if you can hear my fan in the background, but it's nowhere near me, so I'm kind of like roasting right now. If you're kind of curious, like what's like not to have a thyroid, well, it's tricky because like I was always an outdoor person. I love outdoors, still to this day. But when you lose the thyroid, it kind of puts it a little harder for you because your body cannot control your temperature. So like what that means is if I'm walking and it's say 26, 28, which is kind of some people think is comfortable, I'm usually covered head to toe in sweat because I cannot feel that change going up and down. So my body cannot tell me, oh, wow, I gotta make her feel a little bit cooler. No, I can't do that. So like I have to take showers and try to use fans and stuff like that to try to control that. So I try to keep a lot of indoor activities during the really hot sessions, and plus our smoke in the area did not help that. So yeah, it's a lot of a lot of little fun things there. I do hope for all my viewers out there that like there's no fires in your area. I feel bad for those people who kind of like losing their homes right now. It's not very nice. So stay safe out there, please. I do love all my viewers and all my subscribers, so I do appreciate that very much. Now we're just gonna finish this off. Like I say most times, like even earrings, 25 minutes. Maybe variety. Like I'm running at 21 minutes currently. That was just with my little bit of like an intro kind of type thing. So on a standard, yeah, how many I got here for? Most earrings 25 minutes to 40 minutes. It's almost like a necklace or whatever. It's the small beads that kind of push in your time. Just realize that. Because there's many of us who can't really see very well. How many have I got in here? 1, 2, 2. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oops. 2 more. I was just about to pull down. 7 and 8. Good to keep track of what you're doing. And there we go. So again, like I said, it's going to go around the whole of your earrings, stuff like that. If you like round earrings, yeah, just bend it to the way you want, like stuff. Sorry about that. Just had to kind of push it down in some way to get it down on my finger. I can't do that with my other hand. And we're just going to finish this off. Okay, there we go. All right. Come on. All right. And put this on the table, sorry. All right. Now we can put it back on my finger. There we go. It's actually looking quite lovely as, like, even now. Like, if I were just leave it in, like, in a circle, isn't that lovely? Like, I mean, I would probably even wear this outside. I actually had one lady ask me, like, if I bought them off of, like, Temu or Amazon. I'm like, no, I make my own. And she's like, oh, that's wonderful, and stuff like that. So I recommended her to my channel. So I hope she will eventually. So we're going to just finish off, like I say, so I'm just going to take my little time here. Okay, finish these. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. There we go. And don't be worried if you do make little mistakes. You could always restart. It's not the biggest thing in the world. I want everybody just to enjoy what they're doing. So if you're doing crafts, actually be enjoying what you're doing. If you don't feel like you're enjoying it, then, you know, maybe move to something temporarily and come back to it. I've actually had to do that in the past where I'd be working on a craft and then I have to turn around and do something else because, like, sometimes I do lose my interest in something. I was also mentioned that that is possibly due to my thyroid as well, that could be causing that. But I do finish my crafts, and I do finish a lot of those. Sorry about that. I'm just trying to get this through. I think it's so hard when you don't have a hand that can guide that through. Okay. Okay, come on. There we go. And yeah. I do have like a big table, like a little side table here, and that's usually like the one I use for like a lot of my crafting. Now we have about two more beads that need to be done, and then we're just going to put an end on that, and that will show you like what you need to do to get these projects done. So we're going to get this done as quickly as possible. One, two, three, four, five, six, seven, eight. Just so you know, those are 2mm reeds, so we kind of understand like how small it can be. I got variety size. I don't got 1mm. I wouldn't be able to see that, unfortunately. And you would really fine, like even this would be a little thick for a 1mm bead, so these are 2mm, so they're still pretty good. Still a little hard for me to see, but not too bad. And again, we're just going to pop that through. Okay, where is that? Okay. Don't mind if you push the one bead over just a tad. It's not going to wreck it. Add to just to kind of like blend it in there, okay? Beads are pretty versatile, and if you're using a correct wire, like I said, this standard beading wire, you're going to be okay. Now, a word of caution is if you're using like a kind of like a finer thread, which I do have, let's just say you're using this. Okay, one word of caution, be careful how hard you pull. I have actually worked with this in the past when I first, like, I've never made videos, this is way back in the 90s. This will break quickly. Now you can get a higher quality one that won't break as easy, but I wouldn't really steadily use this as if I were making like bracelets and like more for just sewing and stuff like that. Okay, we're on to our last little bit, and then we're just going to end, and then basically we'll just show you kind of like what it is, what it's going to look like, and then you can kind of make your own design. Now, don't have to use, like I said, purples. I said that back in the beginning. Use blues, whatever colors, even just random colors. These ones are, of course, tube beads for here. I do have round beads, which probably might be a little more trickier for me. Same size, whatever, but 4, oops, sorry, 4, 5, if I get it, 6, good, 7, and 8, perfect. And I just, like, I try to imprint them onto my thumb, so like my thumb will pick it up pretty good. So there we go, just like I show you that. Okay, last bead, and then now we're going to come up to our end. So like now we've done like around it. Now this is actually quite lovely, you know. You could maybe put a bead in the middle. You may have to get a little creative with that. I mean, I wouldn't necessarily at this point. I've done other beadings, like beads with styles where the middle would have had like a bead and whatever one. Now I do have other beads that do have like a middle. Do I have a kind of like a copy where I could show you? Oops, no, it's not it. I do have one. Okay, well, I'll find one later on. Anyway, but you can put beads in the middle, but it's more trickier doing it that way for me, so I kind of keep everything pretty steady. So once you get to the end, again, it's the same thing. You're just going to loop through over top. But instead of going through this kind of like gold bead here on the other side, we're just going to go underneath, near the top, and pull. Oops, sorry. Just kind of hard for me to do, to show you. we're just going to make kind of like a thing. It's going to look like it's going to go down the other side, but don't worry about that for now. Once it does get to that point, you're going to just make sure that's nice and tight. You don't want it super loose. But you're going to loop that one thread underneath. So I'm going to use my finger. I'm going to loop it in. And through the top on the opposite side, I'm going to loop it underneath again. Just to give it security so that it doesn't kind of like move around or whatnot. And you don't want it to kind of like all the beads to kind of fall off, whatnot. That would be kind of like disappointing, I would know. And so there we go. I'm just, sorry, kind of getting that in there. Everything else. If you do make a slight mistake in that, don't worry about it. All right. More just along the one side just to ensure tightness, security, whatever. There we go. Oh, there we go. You could put this. I mean, you could. I don't have the equipment to put like the little push pin ones, but that's fine. So basically you're done at this point. And then just basically, as you can see, I kind of have to hold it this way. I will come across the top now. I'm going to have to kind of show you like this, and I'm just going to let it drop. And there we go. Now untangle this. Now, you could bend this to whatever shape you would want. You could do the teardrop, whatever, whatnot. But we're going to keep it like this. That's quite lovely. And the thing is like this matches this. Now you can make a full set of jewelry out of this at this point. You know, with the gold and then everything else. So you can even have like an earring and necklace set too, and that would be lovely. Just a sec here. I'm just going to put everybody aside just to kind of get you an idea. I do have, I bought these recently, is these, oh, they're all kind of intertwined here. Okay, hang on, those are just the standard hooks and everything else. So I'm going to put this down, and I'm just going to open up the base of that bead very gently. You don't want to crank it all the way back because it's just not going to work. So we're just going to use our little pliers here. Oh, sorry. Hard to see it. There we go. And just, oops. Oh, that's gone before. I'll find out later. I don't really have, like I said, the fingers to kind of, so apologies on this. I'll show you in a second what I meant. Okay. Now sometimes if you could wedge that tip of that nose into the side there, you can. Some of them are very stubborn. They feel like they're sealed, but they're not. Alright. I got a bit of an, not very much of an opening. I was hoping a little bit wider. Just a sec here. Alright, there we go. Had to put it down on the ground to do it. You would want your loop to have like a little bit of length because you want it to go through the tip of your, so you're going to have to put that through. This is where it gets a little tricky, and I'll show you when I get this in. Just a second here, I had to adjust my hand over top of this. And we're just going to gently make sure that that tip is closed. It's just tricky for me to hold, that's why I'm doing this. I maybe did not need like that wide of an opening. Just to give you an idea, that's a little bit, it was a little too wide of an opening, so it's going to take me a little bit to close this up, sorry. Okay. I'm actually holding it up against the table. This is one thing I hate when I can't actually hold some things. It just makes it very annoying for me to kind of close it. I'm going to swap through these. This is a little bit nicer. Gives a little bit more control instead of that curve kind of like feeling. And for a pack of like the earring holders, you're looking about $7, $8, depending where you're going. So in general, what does it cost to make a pair of earrings? Probably about $9, $10. But that's more than one pair of earrings. You're going to probably get like 20, 30 pairs of earrings, depending how much supply you have on hand. Okay, just making sure I'm getting this nice and tight. It's a little tricky. Sorry, I can't show you right now. I'm having a camera person right now. Ah, there we go. There we go. And we're in. And so there we go. It's on. So as long as it has kind of like the movement, so like if you're putting them in and stuff like that, it's gonna be relative. And if you don't like the shape, like the one thing I like about having like them with wires, like you can shape it, like even like push it just a little bit more closed. Maybe make it more like a kind of like a teardrop shape or something like that. I mean, it's nicer the other way, but I mean, people do like different styles, so I'm just going to keep it the round. I'm just going to use my finger here to kind of shape it since it's round as it is. And that was easy. that's my trick, honestly. So yeah, and you would make, it's the same kind of techniques. Yeah, you would make 2 pairs, and then that will kind of do. When my video comes in, I will show you like how many pieces, and I'm going to actually go into this. I do apologize, somebody's calling me. But yeah, we're going to do that on a later video, and maybe even making a necklace, and then I will just give this to a friend or something like that. Anyways, that's it for my video. So like I said, that's just one earring. Do the same steps on the secondary earrings. So you're looking at about a little over an hour for kind of like 2 earrings in total. So yeah. And it also depends, like if you got the proper kind of tools to get that done. I do have quite a bit of supplies still here, so we're just going to put those in. I also have like kind of like these kind of leaf-based kind of thing. I was hoping for another project, but I don't know how I'm going to get that yet. I got to get some more different types of things. And then I'll show that in a different way. And kind of like my kind of home kind of based resin thing once I get those supplies in. So anyway, thank you all for watching. And this has been another jewelry beading kind of thing with B. Anyways, take care. Have yourselves a great day. Cheers.